Hi, my name's Rachel Andrews. Welcome to Everyday Athlete. On this week's video, I thought I'd bring you along on a trip to the beach. It's been what I would call a bit of a dry week for swimming this week. That said, it's not been at all dry with the weather because it has been lashing it down and very, very windy. So that has limited my options for getting in the water. So I'm hopeful of a swim today, but I thought I'd bring you along to check out the possibilities. Something I'm looking at here with some concern is the power of these breaking waves and possibly the height of them. I'm quite high up on the cliff top here deliberately so that I could get a bit of a look at what's going on down there. And what's going on down there looks fairly powerful. I guess from here it can look fairly flat and like the waves aren't very big. A little bit like if you take a photo of a ski slope and you tried to tell someone that it was really steep and very scary. Let's get down and have a little bit of a look. Potential entry point, but as you can see there's lots and lots of bodyboarders in the water, and what I don't want to do is get battered by them. Probably most of them don't have enough experience or expertise to be able to avoid someone else in the water, so I'd need to swim well away from those guys if I was going to get in. And this person over here who's surfing is even sat on their surfboard is lower than the height of the wave, so that would mean if I get in the water nobody at water level can see me. This does look like enormous fun to get in and bob around in the waves, but as you can see from the height here and the amount of people watching on the beach, anything that looked like me whooping and waving my arms around could be mistaken for me being in trouble, and somebody could put themselves at risk trying to rescue me. Well, that's usually my preferred get-in spot, and it's a no-go today because of the amount of bodyboarders. So I'm going to take a little look further at the beach and see if there's any possibilities there. One thing I'm always aware of about getting into water when there are lots of people around with families and kids is that although I might be a strong swimmer, it might encourage somebody into the water who is half thinking of it, hasn't gone in because no one else is in. They spot me get in and start to swim just fine, and they get themselves in and get into trouble. I would really struggle with being responsible for somebody having followed me in because they don't have the skill to decide whether or not it's safe. Although the waves aren't tremendous, there's probably a little bit of towback going on underneath, so as the waves come crashing in, that water has to dissipate somehow and needs to go back out. And although it might knock me off my feet, it's not going to pin me to the floor because as a person I'm buoyant, so I would pop up, but it would be an altogether frightening experience, I think. Today I think I'm going to conclude that it's much more of a sit and stare at the sea and take in its might and get involved with it. What I don't want to do is end up committed and noticing that it's fairly rough. I can see the spray coming up when it hits the groins. What I don't want is that the sea dominates when I can breathe. I want to breathe when I'm ready and not have such a stressful swim that I'm having to think about when I can breathe and checking around me. I would like to have a fun swim. Today, on my own, that's not what I get today if I get in the water. I must admit to being a little bit disappointed that the conditions aren't right for today's swim, but sometimes it's just about being able to take in nature, and that sometimes even happens when I go to a river. If it's flowing too hard for me to be able to swim, then I need to just take the positives, have a look around, see what nature's about. Sometimes that could be in a river situation. I might even spot a kingfisher. Here I'm just looking and watching the waves breaking because it is so soothing. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video despite the lack of swimming, and that you've stayed safe this weekend and kept yourselves fit and healthy, and hopefully I'll be back in the water for another video next week. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and drop me a comment. Tell me where you went swimming this weekend and what you got up to. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. I've got almost 100 swimming videos on there.